Hi, this is Daniel Posney, and this is Shifting Perspectives. So it's going to be about 10 or 15 minutes of just possibly changing your perspective on a certain topic. And this morning, it's all about resentment. Resentment. I was reminded about resentment the other day um, from a session that I had, and just reminded about how deep it can go and how painful it can be. So I'll get into that in a minute. Just want to let you know what's happening in October is a men's retreat for 4 days. Good time to sign up for that because um, if I can't get people to sign up for it, then I'll need to cancel the the housing, the lodging for that. So if you're thinking about it, go ahead and put in your deposit, and then we'll keep that going and we'll start it. The other thing is September is 22nd, 23rd, and 24th is a 1 day spiritual retreat here at our house at Hummingbird House, and then 2 days of relationship retreat. Also, Valerie and I are going to be on Oahu for relationship retreat for 5 days, and that's going to be awesome. We're really looking forward to that. And then on the 2nd, we're doing a breathwork and sound from 6:30 to 8:30 at our studio at 1785 Highway 89A, number 1C is in cat. And that is $33 at the door and or $33 beforehand, and then $38 at the door. Either way, it's just really, really great deal for 2 hours of potentially life-changing breathwork and sound. All right, so resentment. It when I think about the resentment that I've had in my life, uh, I have an expectation. I have a need, and it's built up into resentment because it's seemingly happened over and over again. So um, something is not to my liking or not what I want, and what usually happens is I haven't said anything about it, and I'm hoping that somehow it'll change. And then if it doesn't change, then I get resentful. And then I build up this story in my mind that, God, if they cared about me, or if they loved me, or if they were a good person, then they would do this or they wouldn't do that. So there's this expectation together with um, this judgment. So it's expectation and judgment together, and it comes into resentment. So I think I had the other day, I would call it resentment the other day, when I had an expectation, and I didn't say something about it in the moment that it was happening. Like, if I was really aware, if I was really conscious, I would be able to, in the moment, say, hey, could we do this next time? Or could I have a little bit more of this? I would ask for what I wanted. And it would come off really easy and really come off really gentle. And it would be like I was talking to my grandmother. And I think about that sometimes, like if I had a communication that I had with my sweet little grandmother, it wouldn't come off as with energy behind it or with resentment. It would just be just a, hey, as softly and tenderly as I could, this is what I need. And it would come off even softer than that. But what happens is that sometimes I'll keep it inside, and hoping that something will change. Like, maybe the person will find out what they're doing is wrong, or they could be doing something different. And there's this thing inside that says they should know better. They should know that they need to do something different because that's what I need. But that's the problem, is that, one, I haven't said anything. I haven't mentioned to them. I haven't gotten clear with them about what it is that I need, which is maybe different than what they're thinking. So resentment is expecting someone to know what your needs are, and you haven't told them what your needs are, or you're wanting something to show up differently than how it's showing up. You're wanting someone to do more work around the house, or you want them to provide more in the household as far as financial, or you want them to be more concerned about your needs. But the problem is they're not. And you make them wrong for it. I make them wrong for it. And there's a great process I've talked about before, called the work with Byron Katie. And a lot of the questions that she asks in these certain sessions or situations is it true? Like, they should provide more for, financial means in the household, or they should do more chores in the house. Okay, it's true that they should do more of that. Yes, it's true. They should provide that. They should balance out the work in the house. The next question is, are you 100% sure that this is true, that they should do this, or they need to do this? Well, if you're really honest, and it's hard to say this, but you can't say it's 100% true that they should. It's a belief that you had. And then the next question is, what happens to you? How do you respond? How do you react when they don't? Or when you hold that belief that they should? Well, you start to close down and the thoughts start coming up, and you start to mull over and over again all these different ideas about what this means about them and what that means about you. It just kind of creates this whole fantasy. And then the next question, the last question is, who would you be without that belief? That you just let them be as they are, and just was that way, just allowed yourself to just kind of allow that. But there's always this part of our mind that says, I could never do that because they're going to take advantage of me. If I need someone someone to behave in a certain way that is better for me or better for humanity or just be a nicer person, and if I allow them to be as they are, then it's going to cause suffering. It's going to cause some disturbance in the world. Yeah, that's the hard part. They will, maybe not, maybe they will, but it's not yours to change everyone that doesn't fit your expectations. Ooh, that's a hard one, because isn't that what we're doing? Isn't that what we're doing, where we're going out into the world, and as we see bad things, we correct those bad things. And those people that are being assholes, we help them not to be one. Well, not necessarily. There's too much of that going on. There's too much of that of work out there to do that. Instead, what if we just allowed people to be as they are, and um, moved our expectations from other people and brought ourselves closer to our heart, and had compassion for those people that didn't get the training to be the way that you want them to be, don't have the means to be the way you want them to be, or don't have the confidence to be that way. There's all these different things that we could have a little bit more compassion of why this person isn't behaving in the way that you need them to be. Oh, that's a hard one. It's a hard one to let go of that resentment, because there's this holding on of this ground. Like when I'm in resentment, there's like, I'm very indignant, I guess is the word. And, I believe it, you need to be this way. And so the problem, it's so hard to come out of this resentment, because wouldn't it be great if we had resentment and then we healed it and was, oh man, I got out of that resentment. But when you're in the resentment, it's just lasting this hook in you. And when I'm in resentment, there's a hook in me that just keeps on nagging at me. And the part of the reason why that is because it's a chemical process. So what happens is that we have something happen to us in the environment, or someone says something or does something, and then our mind creates a story about that and a belief about that. And then from that creates a chemical process in our brain, which activates certain neurons, and things start firing, and blood starts pumping, and it tells the body to inflate the heart rate, and cause the sweat to go on the skin and all this stuff, and it's already flowing. So it's one thing to say, just don't be resentful. when it's already flowed, it's the process, the physiological process of already, gone into your body. So I found that one of the things that I can do, since it's already in my body, and it's hard for me to just kind of pull all that back, because I could deal with my thoughts, or I could do a little meditation, but my body is still reacting to that. So I need something to kind of shock that, to kind of break myself out of that. So going on a hike, laying on a rock, jumping into cold water, or get in a cold shower, or doing something to distract myself, um, that would cause my body to start to change its physiology, so I can stop being in the blood pumping, sweating kind of thing. So there's a couple things going on. I need to do something physical, because just sometimes when if I choose just to sit in the meditation, all I'm doing is I'm cooking up new stories. I'm cooking up deeper and deeper into this muck. So if I can do something that kind of distract my mind, or shock my mind even better, you know, get into something cold usually does it for me. I can shock myself. Um, and then I can work on, okay, why am I being resentful? What's behind this? I'm resentful because they're making me feel what? And that's where I really get to something. If I can get to how it's making me feel, like what's the story? What's the thing that my mind has put together? Let's see. I'm trying to think of an example. Let's say that I'm in a household and I feel like I'm the one who's paying the rent and I'm paying for everything, and my partner isn't doing anything to help out. And it's a valid concern. There should be some kind of balance, so that if you have the means to help out with the rent or the mortgage in the place that you're living, then that's the normal thing to do. But if there's resentment built up because of that and so many other things, you've the mind is kind of taken over, and it's no longer you and that other person. It's your mind, or your egoic mind and their egoic mind. So you've completely lost yourself, and the thoughts that are coming through are not even your thoughts. They're your mind's thoughts, and you just kind of go on. This is something that I know, it's kind of a weird kind of way to talk about this, but there's you, and then there's your egoic mind that has the thoughts just kind of come in, and it's the egoic mind that kind of cultivates that and plants those seeds and builds that up into something, and you're over here watching the whole thing happen. So if you kind of can realize that you just want to love this person, that's what you want to do. If you really can pull yourself back, if you had everything settled and taken care of, what you would feel is back to love with this person, because isn't that what you want? It's the thing that feels the best, and you want to feel love from that person. And what you're thinking that you want is actually the feeling that you want. If you want this person to help out with the rent more, help out with the finances more, it's not the actual action. At least that's what your mind is telling you is the action. But what you really want is security. What you really want is safety. What you really want is this collaboration together that makes you realize that you're with the right person, and there's love there and all that stuff. So it goes deeper than just this person needs to fix this problem. Like if a person is not doing the dishes, and it's making you feel like because they don't do the dishes that you feel unworthy, or you feel insignificant, or you feel um, that the person doesn't care, people don't care about you. If they were to fix the problem by doing the dishes, that wouldn't fix your problem. That wouldn't fix the feelings that you've been having. The not doing the dishes is just the symptom. It's not the real original cause. So the resentment, you think it's going to be fixed by some physical action. This person isn't doing this thing for me. But when we can get to the emotional piece behind the whole thing, why are you really resentful? It's not because this person did this or didn't do this. It's because it made you feel something when they didn't do that, when they did do that. So that's the part to go into, is that We're resentful for this, how it's making us feel. And if we can talk to that person through in that conversation, say, the reason why I got resentful, and I am resentful and I am triggered right now because I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that you don't care. And I know you do care, but I'm feeling that you don't. So this is something that I need to own. This is something that I need to look into. Why is it that because you did this, I feel that you don't care? It's not so obvious that if you just don't do that thing, you don't care. So there's a little bit of investigation going on there about what is the deeper um, meaning behind the resentment. It's not as blatantly physical as you think it might be. And just having a conversation about it with your partner, with this person that you're having this resentment with, just to kind of open that up and really look at that. Otherwise, the resentment builds and builds and builds, and you get further and further away from each other. And that's what I've seen a lot of marriages, that they're completely, there's no real reason anymore why they're upset with each other. It's only that it's resentment. Resentment of all the stuff that's been built up, and that the original resentment has never been cleared up. And so if you talk to them and say, what's the problem? Well, they didn't put the toothpaste cap back on the toothpaste. It's just resentment. So talking about the underlying emotion behind the resentment, it's not about the toothpaste, it's not about the dishes, it's not really about the finances. It's about something deeper than that, something closer to your heart. All right, I've been rambling enough. Thank you for listening, and I love you. Thank you, and bless you.